Okay, so my first idea was like a sort of thriller drama, and it's called Dead End, and it starts with this guy who is like addicted to extreme sports, and he gets an adrenaline high, and that is like his actual high sort of thing, and he needs it to like move every day and do things, and it gets to the point where it becomes so addictive that it becomes a mental sort of, he becomes mentally unstable with his adrenaline high, and the short would begin with him standing on a rooftop contemplating whether or not to jump, because it would be the ultimate adrenaline rush, but it would end all of his sort of mental frustration with himself, because he can't be in that sort of state all of the time, so he can't be in the fear of falling, or that one fear that we're all born with is falling sort of thing. He can't be in it all of the time, and that's where he contemplates whether it's a mental disorder or not, and that's kind of playing with that idea. And then it kind of moves on to No Title, which is like a gangster movie that starts with this kid who's born into poverty, and he has no like other ways of getting to the top. And instead of going for a job title like manager or whatever, his title would have none, because he's trying to climb the crime ladder and become to where he is now. And he decides, like in the scene, he can't have a normal life because of what he was born into, sort of a thing, and he tries, but it just fails, and he becomes like the #1 gangster family or whatever in wherever it's. I think it's in London. I'll put it on that's one. And the third idea was Life After Death, and now this is one of my most interesting ones, where he escapes the world every night and he dies, but comes back as a different person. So he'd go through like 5 or 6 different walks of life. So he'd be poor, rich, dying and healthy sort of a thing, and then like one of the or in between. So he wakes up and he's in this like poor like home, and has nothing to eat and these things like that. And he'll wake up the next day after going to sleep, but he'll still remember being poor and rich, and he'll try and better himself. So he'll try and donate money while he's rich and things like that. And then he'll be dying, and he'll feel what it feels like to be dying in his hospital bed, and then he'll be healthy, he'll be like one of the most healthy people, and then try and better people that are actually dying, sort of thing, because he remembers each night, and he goes through hundreds and hundreds of different lifestyles, and he can't die, and that's how he lives, sort of a thing, and it just carries on. And then we have our sci-fi, which isn't really a sci-fi, but it is a sci-fi, because it is science fiction, it's a fictional story. A boy looks for his dad in the stars, because after he's died, and he takes his mom saying he's up there now as a literal thing, so he actually looks for him in the stars, and he finds these different planets and becomes like a really like astronomer, but he's actually looking for his dad in the stars, sort of a thing, and he just can't find him. And I was thinking, with this idea, we could go around like different old people's homes and meet different people that actually are astronomers, and he does his research to try and find his dad in the stars, which he'll never find because he's not there. His mom's kind of done it, like not literally, but doesn't tell him that she didn't mean in that way, sort of thing.
What do you think?
Do you know the Life After Death one? Is it going to be the same actor changing into like the clothes of the people?
No, it'd be totally different people.
But they're all playing the same character?
No, it's the same character. It's the same mental state.
It's the same character, but in different bodies?
In different bodies, sort of thing. So you could grow up in like, I don't know, like in the poverty. This isn't like for like literal meanings, but you could grow up in like a council house or whatever and have no food and have no bed. Like a sort of a Attack the Block, you know how Thingy wakes up in his house and he's still got like Spider-Man stuff from, and his pizza boxes and he's living on stuff like that. He'd wake up in that sort of environment with no family, nothing, and then wake up the next day in a house
and
filled
you'd be in
with...
the body of somebody else.
Yeah, in the body of someone else. Yeah, and then the contrast there is he tries to help someone else while he's in the more able sort of body.
If he dies in that body, does he die?
No, because that's technically as him going to sleep and he'll wake up again in the next one. But
The
that's how
person
he
who
lives
he
his
was
life.
would have died, but he just jumps into the next body.
And that's how he lives, but he only has one day with each sort of person, so he can't carry their wealth or their their sort of
And he doesn't know which
lifestyle,
body's going into next.
and he doesn't know which body's going into next, but he kind of leaps from body to body, kind of being that person that experiences everyone else's sort of lifestyle, and he makes judgments and tries to better everyone else's lifestyle after that experience sort of thing. So the biggest contrast that I try and show is like rich and poor. So he starts off in this really poor house, and then the next day he becomes really rich and tries to better poor people because of his experience of being poor the day before.
So basically, like, him going into that person's life is basically him as the Grim Reaper of that person, because that signals their death. Like if he jumps into someone's body, then that person's going to die when he...
No, because he still continues. He's only that person, because the person will wake up. Okay, say if I've got
where
my
does
life
their
now,
mind go?
and then it'll be like you've been asleep the whole time.
But
for
then,
that whole
would they have missed the
segment.
day?
They would have missed the day.
So it's like they've been asleep.
Yeah, over the day.
Yeah, but when the main character, like, switches bodies, what happens to the person? Like, does he wake up?
No, he just wakes up as a normal day
Okay,
of
I thought
him,
you
the
just
person
died.
that was there before, but they'll have missed the day.
How are you going to show, like, in like the actual film that he's been switching between these bodies? Because to some people it might just look like it's just a new.
Because you
new
can have
character.
mirrors and things like that and show that it's a different person, but you could have the same voice or something like that, or a narration or something like that.
Yeah, voiceover. That's what they used to do in Quantum Leap.
See, and that's how you'd show that he's in a different body. Because you can have things like, oh, this is new, it's kind of freaky, kind of Doctor Who kind of looking thing, like he's the same person, same body, same mind, but different body sort of thing.
Like the idea of Dead End from a script writing point of view, very difficult to physically make it, but from a script writing point of view, really interesting. The idea of being so addicted to these kind of ultimate, extreme, sporty type things that you'd be willing to do the ultimate stunt to kind of get that last, almost like you're becoming like immune to it, like you need a
Like the
bigger,
last
better.
fix, I thought it was going to be like an addiction, but it's mentally, he's treating it like it's something that's physical, like a crack or a...
No, they do. Base jumpers get very, very addicted to it to the point where they need to keep jumping because, you know, they
And then at the point he doesn't
Fascinating.
care whether he lives or dies, because at that point it's become such an addiction that he doesn't know what to do himself.
Would make it hard to shoot, though.
No, that's what I said. As a script, it's absolutely great. But as a producing it, no, because we can't get base jumpers and people throw themselves off buildings.
Base jump. Oh, that's easy, I've got base jumpers all over.
Anyone else?